So out of curiosity, I mean, this is assumed to be a primarily service provider audience, but I want to see a show of hands. How many are actually from service providers or carriers? Be honest. Yeah. How many are from hardware or software manufacturers and suppliers? All right, there we go. That's not bad. Not a bad mix. So the thing I want to talk about today is not necessarily orchestration. I think that was extremely well covered just now. Orchestration, user experience, interfaces. But what I want to talk about is what are some of the enablers for expanding the managed services business. So most carriers are already in some sort of managed services play today, right? It's not a new thing. It's not a new concept. But how do we enable the industry to remain relevant and grow the relevancy with the end user? And there's a couple of enablers. The first one is new emerging architectures. I mean, that's what this show is all about, SDN and NFE. Elasticity in terms of the control plane, elasticity in terms of being able to spin up and turn down network services. And with NFE, the elasticity of the actual functions, the things that your users consume, whether it's routed services, security services, et cetera. Additionally, there's a driver that's going to take you there whether you want to be there or not. Hopefully you want to be there, you're at the show. But that driver is your customer. Right? The enterprise landscape is changing dramatically. The cloud evolution is well underway, has been for years. Those that are saying we're just now getting into this cloud world, I think are now realizing that it started a while ago. The other thing is that architectures inside the enterprise space are becoming more complex, and the costs of running an enterprise environment are much more complex. And so your customers are looking to do something with that stuff. They're going all the way to the cloud. They want to go to telco cloud. They want to do some hybrid of both. That's an opportunity for us. Additionally, cost structure pressures, right? So your business is becoming more difficult to operate. The enterprise users I just talked about, that's becoming more difficult to operate. So you've got three factors that are enablers and drivers for this evolution. Something just happened? Did I press the wrong button? There we go. Just had to wait for it. So we actually just sat through a pretty compelling presentation that talked a lot about this. This is kind of what I see as the holy grail of service chaining and user experience, right? Easy to orchestrate. You go in, you click a few buttons, things happen, lights blink. Hopefully they're not red, they're green, although F5's colors are red, so maybe they are red. Shameless plug. But this is really kind of the description that we've all been seeing, lots of diagrams. That's not important. This is the part that's important. A flexibility to actually use these services. As operators' networks grow, the cap and grow. Who here supports cap and grow models? Service provider people, please. No? Nobody likes cap and grow. Perfect. You passed the test. Who hates cap and grow? Okay, you can't be in the middle on that one. Are we awake? Where are we? Stay out too late last night. All right. I'm going to give you the answer. Cap and grow sucks. Okay? So I came from a carrier. I spent 14 years, last 14 years at a tier 1 provider. I actually recently joined F5. And cap and grow to me was death. I was in the architecture team. We actually used to say, we're just going to do cap and grow. And then I ran operations for a while, and I realized that was a really bad thing to do to the operations teams. And they wonder, you wonder why they don't necessarily trust the next thing you're trying to introduce. It's because cap and grow means grow and grow, right? You have many, many elements out there. You have the old platform, the new platform, and now the new platform that's supposed to solve the problems that the prior platforms solved. Is anybody with me on this journey? Yes? Yes? Oh, F5ers don't count. It's a real thing, okay? And if any of you disagree, I would love to take you up on that debate, just to get some energy going here. The challenge here is we actually have the opportunity to change our fundamental operational costs and efficiencies of the business through virtualization, right? Think about that for a minute. So it used to be old box, we're out of capacity. Usually it's out of capacity. New box comes in, you plug it in, you move all the cables, now you have new box. That's best case scenario because then you get shut old box off. My scenarios with cap and grow is old box stays there, new box goes in, new cables go in, that box runs out, new box goes in, and next thing you know, you have racks full of old boxes. With virtualization, As we get better with all of the other technologies, accelerations and packages and service chaining and everything else, we actually have the opportunity to shut old boxes off. We have the opportunity to have revenue be the driver for migrations that used to be OpEx-based and are probably still OpEx-based, but you have revenue tied to the case. So think about that from a financials perspective. You're trying to float this past a CFO. I want to replace something, it's going to be OpEx, what's the new revenue? There isn't any, but it makes operations lives easier. Sorry, we can't do that right now. Come back next year. Now we actually have revenue tied to this. And what that is you can minimize orchestration complexity, hence time to market, so revenue faster. Simplify service offerings by using predefined templates in a service catalog. So that's something that everybody's saying, right? We've got 2 or 3 floors out there of people talking about that. We heard a great presentation just now around that. I actually followed a little bit of that case my prior job, and it's a very compelling story. Leveraging SDN for service chaining, okay, so now you're getting a little beyond the business cases and the CFO talk, but you can actually show realness to that. There's now realness to this in terms of the market. VCPE. Does anybody know the projected VCPE market? This is a test for any of you vendors that raise your hands that are actually selling these things. UCPE, sorry, hardware, white box stuff. Did anybody want to take a guess? No, nobody, okay, fair enough. By 2021, analyst numbers, not my numbers, let's call boxes somewhere, let's be fair, let's not hurt feelings. Boxes that'll cost $500 to $3,000. That's a pretty wide range. And that covers probably a nice swath of the average market. $740 million a year service providers are going to spend on $1,500 boxes every year. That's a big number, right? That's new stuff. So if you think about box sprawl where they were single purpose, imagine that. We deal with that today for CPE. Being able to get those things out and reprovision them without having to do truck rolls, very powerful. Last, reap the benefits of packaged virtual solutions. And this is kind of getting into the meat of what I want to talk about. Is everybody with me so far? Sorry, yeah, costs a lot. Box sprawl sucks. CFOs are hard to talk to. Business cases are hard. We have great technology. Okay. Yes? Just have a scratch? No. And so what I want to talk about that couples nicely with the presentation for those that were in here just prior is the challenge of going to the portal, clicking the button, spinning up the service, your customer is now happy, they've got whatever they needed. Beautiful piece. The real challenge of that from a business perspective is all of us funky VNF vendors, we also would like to get paid in this process, right? That's the truth of the matter. We're all here, we're all in business, we're all here to make money. How much money is always debatable, but we're all here to make money and stay in business, including your end users. The fact is that the commercial models have not been flexible enough to actually make that model really achievable. That's why the SD-WAN market was so powerful, because you're dealing with one vendor. You're dealing with a tightly integrated solution that works very well. I used to roll those out all the time in my prior job. However, what we need as an industry is we think about solution integration and service integration and managed service integration is a model that says, okay, as a service provider, I have an enterprise customer that I need to help them make money. They have some business that they're running, whether oil, manufacturing, medical, whatever it is, they need to stay in business. How can I serve them and not worry about truing up immediately? They need to turn something on like that, let's do that. So do that with subscriptions. Do that with utilities. Do that with perpetual. We're all comfortable with perpetual. We know what it looks like. We know what it feels like. But we also have this challenge of saying, well, we used to pay for it with CapEx and we owned it, but now you're trying to charge me as a service, and I don't have the OpEx, but I want to get paid, and I want to charge them, but I want them to pay OpEx. How does that all work? Don't pay me until you get paid. How's that sound? Does that sound pretty good? Don't pay me until you use it. We do that today. As a society, we've been trained to do that today. You need an app on your phone or tablet, you pay for it when you want it. You don't pay for it when you buy the phone. Is everybody with me? Yes, it's hard after lunch, third day of the conference. Many people are in a different country. Yeah, stayed out way too late. Who stayed out way too late? This guy did. He's not admitting it. No, not me. I was in bed early. All right, so
I think around 20 years you guys focusing on the commercial model and the commercial challenge in the industry. So I think it's a good presentation.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I see a lot of head nods, but I don't know if that's like the the airplane nod. or if it's like, yeah, I like this. This makes sense. So I touched on this. The idea of being able to rent it, subscribe to it, or just buy and own isn't a new concept either, right? It's something that as a society we've been trained to do, and we expect that, but we haven't really implemented it very well. We mastered it for other services that were legacy, but we haven't really mastered it for this piece. Tying this into the ability to create a package and sell an outcome and not worry about the mechanics of saying, oh, you need this tomorrow, but we have a contract and we have to get some lawyers involved. That still has to happen, by the way. We haven't solved that problem, but it doesn't have to happen to impede business. Serve business, figure it out. Right? I think we can all appreciate that. So what does that do? Simple to buy. Procure faster, more flexibility. You have options. Certain customers that you're serving may have different demands, so you can model to that. Simple to use. So again, minimize the constraints. Change it up, switch it up. Maybe your customers' needs have changed. Maybe you bought a rent model and you realize that they're going to use this thing for the next 12 years. So just buy it outright. Own it. Let it be there. Let not worry about it. And then flexible to deploy. If you have a customer, heaven forbids you have churn, you lose a customer. It happens. Pull the license back. Push it over to the next customer. Right? Don't worry about it. Pool the resources. Create a package. Focus on outcomes. The outcome is enable your customer to stay in business and earn more business with them. So summary. I just talked about all this, so I don't need to read this. I do want to say this one thing, though. Complexity kills. Does anybody agree with that? Yes? Okay, thank you. Start now or start and wake up. Complexity, yes. Who likes complexity? Nobody. Okay. So the idea with the complexity kills concept, and I was talking about this with packages, and hopefully many of you can swing by the F5 booth and see this. And I've kept talking about outcome-based results. Focus on a package. Focus on a service. Don't worry about trying to be the SI of technology. Try to be the SI for actual services and results. What do you need it to do? Oh, you need it to have this much bandwidth with, and if it's firewall, this many policy rules. Fantastic. Don't worry about how many VEs are sitting underneath it. Don't worry about how the traffic is sprayed across different cores. Let us handle that, right? As a service provider, we can take care of that. Don't you worry about that. Oh, you need to move that service? Fantastic. We have orchestration platforms that can handle that. Oh, you need to change these rule sets, or you need to make a migration because you've now had some sort of disaster? Fantastic. Don't worry about the licensing. We'll take care of that. So again, outcome-focused sales engagements to your customers, commercial terms that actually make sense, and it's honestly what human nature is expecting now. So we're dealing with human nature, right? Even though we're talking about AI and robots and all that stuff, you're still selling to people. And the idea of reducing the complexity within the infrastructure actually changes the dynamics of how you run your network. So we have a few minutes left. I suspect what I'm about to say is not going to get a lot of results, but does anybody have questions or comments that we should engage in discussion? Somebody's got to have a question or a comment. I appreciate yours, sir. You're off the hook. You already did your part today. I'll start asking you guys questions randomly. That might be uncomfortable, huh? All right, so I will turn it back over to you. I appreciate it, and hopefully you all can go get a shot of espresso and have a great show. Thank you very much.